Hi everyone, thank you for coming. I'm going to remind you that I'm Laura from Curious Shapes, and we're here to explain why there's a hut in the middle of FIFAfrica25. I know that you've all been here for the Uproar workshop, and you've been talking about the Universal Periodic Review at the UN. You've been talking about passing important laws and policies, and what I want you to do is not think about what you're doing at all that way. The point of this exhibition is to think a little bit more emotively about the work that you do. If you are working on data protection laws, why are you doing it? Why is it important that people have data rights? Why is it important to maintain people's privacy? So what we have here is a hut that was designed by Alicia Tunga, as well as 4 art pieces also done by Alicia Tunga, who's a Namibian artist. And we also have a few pieces from artists in Zimbabwe. And these pieces are meant to make you think a little bit differently about the technologies that are in your hands, the past that you have with them, the everyday experiences that are joyful or frustrating or maddening, or they make you want to cry. And then we have the hut, which is the space where you can go. And instead of talking about, someone introduces themselves at a conference and they say, I'm Laura, and I'm a lawyer, and I work for this organization, and I work on this issue. None of that. We want you to go in and speak from the heart. So that is the hut. I can explain a few of the art pieces, but I encourage you all to walk around and look at them all, because I think a couple of these really relate to the work that many of you do. So I'll start with this one. This is by Lorraine Nuluvo. Am I saying that right? Yeah. All right. A Zimbabwean artist. And this is called Just a Brick. How many of you work on internet shutdowns? Some of you. So you know the experience of your phone turning into a brick. It's no longer a phone. It doesn't get a connection. It's heavy. It's useless. It's not the powerful object you know it to be. The artist beaded the brick and beaded the phone to make it feel beautiful. It's like a sacred experience to lose connection. Sometimes maybe you don't want to be connected, but this is the point of this object, to make you think about what it means to have your phone and not have your phone, and that it's this big, heavy thing that's always in your hand. So that's this brick. Next, I'm going to direct you to this boot. This boot is by Alicia Tunga, who I mentioned before, who also did the heart. And yes, no, she's over there. She didn't want to be video recorded. But it has all of these messages on the boot. They say, be kind, be polite, be respectful. And you'll notice the boot is like a big black man boot. And it's supposed to make you think about, what is it like to be a woman on the internet? What kind of messages do you hear over and over again? How does that shape who you are and what you think you should be? So I encourage you to take a look closely at the messages. There's a lot of different ones. And there's a lot of pieces here that I won't talk about, but you should look at. The last one I want to talk about, because I know many of you work on data protection laws and getting them passed, and also making sure they're implemented in your countries. This one is a cape made by Shepherd and Cube, also a Zimbabwean artist, and printed on the back. It's a wearable cape. It's hard to see a little bit. Are the terms and conditions for using WhatsApp. And they're the ones that everyone who's outside the EU gets. So they carve out the things that they can collect on you. And the description there talks also about how the Nigerian courts and the Kenyan courts have found WhatsApp and Meta to be liable for a lot of violations of their data protection laws. And so the cape is to remind you you're enveloped in these terms when you use these technologies. So what we're going to do with you all, because some of you are lawyers, probably many of you, Many of you are activists, maybe a few of you are technologists, is to get you to tell a story. We'll do an exercise back in the room. It'll be really brief. I know it's the end of the day, it's tiring. And we're going to think through how to talk about the work you do without talking about laws and policies. And to demonstrate that, we have Rachel Voko. Rachel Voko will also be here on Thursday or tomorrow, and we'll be doing a performance of her story at the cocktail hour. But what Rachel's gonna do right now is I'm gonna ask her to tell a story in a way that you might normally be telling a story in a conference.
Hello everyone, my name is Rachel Voko, a spoken word artist and a digital rights advocate from Zimbabwe. The internet is fun, I love it. Well, the internet, I love it because it connects us with people that we never imagined connecting with. For example, the mentors, the family that we have in the global village, the friends as well. So it also opens up economic opportunities for us. This is in terms of businesses that we do, our day-to-day activities, and even our social life.
How are you feeling? Are you like ready to go to sleep a little bit? No offense, Rachel.
Sorry.
I'm just saying this because we all talk about these issues all the time. Sometimes you just like zone out. You've heard it before. You've heard people say that. So Rachel, will you give me a demonstration of the kinds of stories we would like you to be able to tell?
Okay. Let's talk about how I was in my room. And I received an emergency call, let's say, from my grandmother, and she's informing me that she's not feeling well. Then all of a sudden, the phone just cuts in the middle of nowhere. What am I supposed to do from there? Because now I cannot reach my grandmother who's maybe in the rural areas. So these are the kind of stories. Something personal, it can be fiction, it can be non-fiction, something real, something imaginary. You can be creatives like from today onwards. We are the creatives, so we want you guys to be creatives as well.
So if you speak from the heart, you tell a personal story, it ends up doing a lot to forward whatever policy you're working on. So that's what we want you all to do. And I'm excited to hear all your stories. We will go back in the room. We'll do a small little exercise and we'll pull people out who want to tell their stories. Does everyone feel really good about this? Yeah. All right, good. All right.
Hello. My name is Rachel Voko, a spoken word artist and a digital rights advocate from Zimbabwe. You know, I am one person who loves and enjoys using the internet because it connects us to different people, like mentors, professionals, and experts from around the globe. And also it contributes so much in our professional development.
Okay, my name is Mjamba Majila. I'm a registrator, a member of parliament for Zambia. Specifically, I'm a member of parliament in Mwembeshi constituency. This is a rural area in Zambia. My story is a very intriguing story. Of course, I would have told personal stories, but I want to talk about the story of my people, the people I lead in my constituency. You see, the Zambian government gives empowerment to youth groups and people who are vulnerable in the rural areas for them to be empowered so that they move from poverty into sustainable livelihood. So what they did was they offered them that they are supposed to apply for money, which money they are going to be applying documents online. So these people, they are to move from my area where the internet was not very good, to go and see to it that they get the internet from the nearby towns. They did all the logistics they needed to do through a lot of days, whereby they would go on the net, try to operate, try to get the documentations, and then bring them back into our area in the constituency. Now, it was one of the days when that day they are trying to fill in all the forms. The forms were actually online. These people, they started filling the paperwork, putting the paperwork online and making sure that it is being loaded. And as it were, as I'm saying, the internet was very slow that day because there is no infrastructure on the ground. The infrastructure is not so good, and the net was very slow. So as they were loading, they were actually even panicking because these people, time was running away, and then they had only few hours to do what they are supposed to do. I can tell you by the time it was noon at 12 hours, all of a sudden that net could no longer load on the system, and the whole system shut down. So because of the infrastructure and the net which could not move, the people were unable to load their application with all the days they did after running up and down trying to save themselves so that they could get a better life. Now, we are saying this internet, which we think is very important to everybody in the rural areas, has got hiccups in terms of infrastructure so that these people are able to do a better job in a better timing. So all these things which the plans they had, their aspirations and everything died. I was very saddened as a member of parliament representing the people who are actually very poor that they could not manage to do the application in time because of the internet which they could not access at that time. Thank you so very much.
My name is Bob Chirenga and I work for a civil society organization in Uganda. My first interaction with the internet can best be described as excitement. I was introduced to the internet through an email composure by my friend called Diana Sekaja, who was about 6 or 7 years younger than myself. When she introduced me to the internet, was about introducing me to having an email. And I got so excited that after knowing how to use the internet, particularly mainly the email address, I kept on asking anybody that I would meet, do you have an email address? Do you have an email address? So I was so excited about the internet that I kept on looking at spending more of my time on the internet trying to find out what are those wonders within the internet, how does this information get into a gadget. So I kept on doing lots of research about things, anything I would read that I don't understand, I would just go and put it in the internet and in the search engines and try to find out what it's all about. But over time I've also learned to rely more on the internet to get information and do my research based on the work that I do. However, I have come to describe the internet also as a ghost in as far as doing online work is concerned, to the extent that I really make sure that whatever I'm doing online is not done on what I would call the so-called deadline, that I have to do it a week or days before the deadline, because not about the shutdowns by state institutions or apparatus, but because of the poor infrastructure that at the time you want to do something very urgent, that's when the internet is off as a result of maybe an energy crisis, or maybe the internet is slow, maybe you cannot download anything. It becomes a technicality. So I've since learned that whenever I want to do anything on the internet and has a deadline, I have to do it 3 or 5 days or a week before the deadline so that I'm able to meet it. But I've decided to call it a nightmare, because when you wait for the deadline, that's when things go bad. And therefore, that's my experience with the internet that I am excited about.
Hi everybody, my name is Abishi Weather from Namibia, and I'm just going to give a little bit of story, personal story about the internet. For me, the internet has been a learning experience. It has its cons and pros, but to know it all is, it taught me how to live my life. It taught me how to actually set boundaries, and it also taught me to express my artistic side. When I talk about my artistic side, as you can see this beautiful painting, and you see how the internet was showing so nice. And after a while, this is what happened. after a while, you could see it started showing different shades. But the good thing about it is that we are allowed to express ourselves. We are allowed to show our true self and actually get into a community that actually I can relate to, because without the internet, I was actually always alone in my corner. People didn't understand me. But after a while, going on different platforms, I could see that I could find a community that really understands me, who can be a science person. I'm a science person. I'm a medical scientist. And I also love tech, and I love artificial intelligence very well. But internet it can be also a therapy, where yes, you might not have friends, sometimes a lot of friends that understand you physically, but you can have virtual friends, and virtual friends teach you a lot, and their experiences and things that you don't want to do, especially being able to be yourself and being able to give your interests, being able to do much more than just being limited to a certain box, but you can be limitless, and you can do so many things, and that's why my mind decided to say, I'm also like internet, I'm limitless, and anything I want to learn, I can do it. I stopped doubting myself and started saying that if I want to do something, I can learn about it. And if I can learn about it, I can introduce it to others. But how does it make me feel? It makes me feel so good. Internet, a vast world, a vast life that is so intertwined, and you get to learn different cultures. And without the internet, I would be going to countries, or not even going to countries at all, not having an urge to leave my country, not even having an urge to debate, not even having an urge to actually want to speak, not having an urge to actually just be myself. I'm bubbly, I'm talkative myself. Born month in October 28, I'm a Scorpio, straightforward, and meeting other people and just realizing that, the world is so vast, and life with internet, life with artificial intelligence, life can become very easy. You can be in the village, and the moment you just go on the net, it's like you have a whole different audience, a whole different world, and you start becoming a dreamer. The internet made me a dreamer. The internet made me somebody to believe, because when I get to see other people's stories, I got to see myself as a person who's been looked down on. And how I achieved is because of many stories and things I shouldn't do, business-wise, meeting new people, got to learn how to network, and just also getting the love from a lot of people, and also getting to meet these people face to face. Really, and I'm so happy to just share a story about myself, a little girl from Namibia, born in Okahao, and living a life that she thought it wasn't impossible, but getting to see everybody on an internet platform doing the most. A vast world of internet, a vast life, limitless. Thank you, everyone.